The giant who loved flowers written for TinyTales Treehouse. Upon a time, on the edge of the Whispering Hills, lived a giant named Bramley. He was enormous, taller than towers, wider than wagons, and his footsteps could shake birds right out of the trees. But Bramley wasn't scary. He was soft-spoken, gentle, and had one unusual passion. He loved flowers, tulips, sunflowers, daisies, lilies. He adored them all. Every morning, Bramley sniffed wildflowers with his giant nose. Every night, he whispered sweet lullabies to tiny buds. There was only one problem. Bramley was terribly clumsy. A giant's gardening trouble won't scream. Bramley decided, I want to grow my very own flower garden. He cleared a field with a single sweep of his hand. He filled his pockets with seeds from all over the land. But when he tried to plant them, he squished the daffodils with his pinky. He flooded the soil by sneezing. He sat on a bed of violets by accident and flattened them into purple pancakes. Maybe I'm too big to grow tiny things, he sighed sadly. Even the bees buzzed away from him in fear, and the butterflies refused to land on his nose. He tried again the next day, and the day after that, carefully digging with spoons tied to his fingers and watering plants with a teacup. The village next door, not far from Bramley's Hill, was a village of Petalfrost. The people there had heard rumors of a giant in the hills, and they were terrified. He'll crush our cottages, said the baker. He'll eat our turnips, cried the mayor. In truth, Bramley had never even stepped foot near the village, but he did admire it from afar, especially the beautiful gardens. Their rows of lavender. Oh, how he dreamed of asking for a single seed. He even tried writing a letter once, using a feather dipped in mud. Dear villagers, I love flowers. May I borrow one seed, please? Love, Bramley. The ground shook. The villagers peeked outside and screamed. The giant, Bramley, was running down the hill, arms outstretched, flowers tangled in his hair. But he wasn't angry. He wasn't roaring. He was headed straight for the boulder. The gentle heroess one powerful stomp. Bramley blocked the boulder's path. With one careful hand, he plucked it from the ground and set it aside like a pebble. Then, using his great size, he built a wall of fallen trees around the flooding river. Finally, with his massive hands, he scooped mud from the roads and gently pushed water back into the fields. When the storm passed, Petalfrost was saved, and the giant, he sat in the middle of the soggy village square, sobbing. I'm sorry, he sniffled. I didn't mean to scare anyone. I just wanted to help, and maybe plant some flowers. A flower for a friendly villagers, shocked and silent, watched as this huge, muddy, flower-covered giant cried like a thundercloud. Then a little girl named Wren stepped forward. She picked a single daisy from her garden, one of the few flowers the storm hadn't stolen, and walked right up to Bramley. This is for you, she said. Bramley looked up. For me? She nodded. The villagers gasped, then followed her lead. The librarian gave him ivy clippings. Even the mayor handed him a tiny pot of petunias. Thank you, Bramley whispered, wiping his tears with a curtain from a broken window. A garden grows from that day on. Bramley was no longer just a lonely giant in the hills. He became the gardener of Petalfrost. He used his huge hands to plant entire orchards of sunflowers. He helped rebuild gardens and protected them from future storms. He even learned how to tiptoe kind of. And right on the edge of the village, where the first daisy had been given, bloomed the grand garden of Bramley, a field so bright and beautiful it could be seen from the clouds. People came from far away to see the flowers, but they stayed to meet the kind-hearted giant who grew them. And so, Bramley never squished another daffodil. He still sneezed a lot, but now into trees, not tulips. And whenever someone said, "You're too big for flowers," he'd laugh and say, "The best things in the world start small. Even kindness, even me." The end.